Tonight in my mayor's report. Earlier this evening at 6:30 p.m., an executive session was held to discuss collective bargaining per RCW 42.30.140(4). There will be another executive session held later in this meeting to discuss collective bargaining per RCW 42.30.140(4), and that item will be expected to take 20 minutes, and action will not follow in open session. The next item on my report today, as you heard in public comments, I want to add some additional information and background on the Newport right-of-way acquisition on the Bergsma frontage, an update from post-council study session from last week. So on Tuesday, September 10th, Council received a presentation at a Council study session on a request to acquire frontage along the Bergsma property on Newport Way for construction of future roadway improvements. Council provided some comments and feedback at the work session, as well as the public, and our administrative team regrouped last week to review next steps. I want to take this opportunity tonight to provide an on-camera update. So here's a bit of background. The city was developing the Newport Way corridor concept at the same time as a local developer was working with the Bergsma property owners to explore options to develop the Bergsma property on Newport Way for residential use. The developer held a community open house for residents to discuss the proposal for housing and potential right-of-way improvements. The community input at that time was to ensure that there was adequate pedestrian options on both sides of Newport. There was also a request to consider whether or not the Mountains to Sound Greenway multipurpose trail on the north side may be better suited to the south side where the neighborhoods currently exist. The corridor concept plan included pedestrian features on both sides, but did leave the Mountains to Sound Greenway trail on the north side, and the council adopted this concept plan. The city then purchased Bergsma as an open space acquisition in 2018. Editorial, thank you. The city is now responsible for completing the frontage improvements instead of the developer. The city is currently advancing the design of this section of Newport Way. The city completed a value engineering study that indicated potential cost savings through removal of elements on the south side due to the expense of constructing fairly high retaining walls and removal of trees to accommodate the right-of-way features shown on the adopted concept plan, which included sidewalk and landscape elements on the south side. The community input on the design since the city purchase of the Bergsma property has placed the highest priority now on preservation of trees and the natural environment versus pedestrian mobility on the south side of Newport, adjacent to this Bergsma open space. At roadway design, open houses since the acquisition, the community has expressed a strong desire to minimize the impacts to the south side and to delete the sidewalk and landscaping, and to preserve the natural landscape to the maximum degree possible. The city is in the process of advancing the design of the roadway and is using the corridor plan as guidance. The council was asked for guidance last week on preferences and timing for right-of-way acquisition at last Tuesday's council study session. So after the session last week, there were follow-up discussions with the design team, and it indicated that the design process could proceed with the minimalist approach to improvements on the south side of Newport Way. This is different than what was stated at the council study session. We can proceed through our design to 90% without a sidewalk or landscape strip on the south side, but still allow for the accommodation of utilities. This design may not require a dedication on the south side of Newport across the Bergsma frontage. The administration can complete that assessment in the next 3 to 4 weeks to confirm that assumption and can be prepared to bring it back to council for action on November 4th. The two options could be no dedication, but a tight design fit within the existing right-of-way, or a small 2 to 3 foot dedication to allow for unforeseen circumstances, which could minimize the risk of unforeseen field conditions that may require some minimal dedication. This approach seems to align with the community comment and the general comments from council at last week's study session. So at the end of tonight's meeting, at good of the order, there'll be an opportunity for council to comment on any of this informational update. The last item that I had on my mayor's report tonight is I wanted to welcome a special guest in our audience. At the last regular council meeting, I had announced that Wally Bobkowitz would be starting as our city administrator on September 30th. He is here with us this evening in the audience. Nice to see you. And Wally, will you please stand so that those that are here will know? Thank you.
I stand up and so that I can get him on.
Again?
Get you on camera.
Oh. I don't know how to do that.
Slow review.
Good comment. So we're very excited that you're going to be starting at the end of the month. We are looking forward to working together. And that concludes the mayor's report.